Welcome back to a very windy Costa Brava in Alicante. Goalless at half-time.
I'm going to hold you up here.
I was going to say, this is like one of those scenes from that Back to the Future movie in the wind.
I'm holding onto the door as we blow out.
We'll try to keep Julie here. Now then, let's talk about the World Cup coming up in June. And the USA's group, the first game is against Thailand, and then they have to play, who is it next?
Chile,
yeah, who they played and beaten quite recently, a couple of times in fact, and then Sweden, because the team that knocked them out of the Rio Olympic Games in the final game of the group. How do you see that?
I actually see that group is very manageable, right? You go into that last game, probably Sweden and the U.S. sit on 6 points going into that last game. But there are some contenders. Getting out of the group is not the issue. Getting on and past that group is going to be the big question.
Yeah, and one of them, of course, is Australia, isn't it? Who have sacked their coach in the last few days.
Yeah.
Issues over allegedly the culture of the team and player welfare. We don't really know the full story, but how disruptive is that?
It is going to be disruptive.
5 months out from the World Cup.
Let me actually go in order for you, though, Ian, because actually I think the biggest first contender is going to be France. We saw that on Saturday night, how good they are. Obviously, they're going to be at home. Then you have Australia. You have that turmoil. If they get over that, I think that's one of the more talented teams you have in the World Cup. Then, of course, you have England. I'm giving it to your England because I'm impressed with this group. Fran Kirby, Nikita Ferris, she's a young player. Paris, I think they have some great talent.
Bronze as well.
And bronze. Yeah. And then you also have in Germany a team, even though they haven't been as good of late. We saw how they did in the European Championships, of course, going out in the quarterfinals. Germany is always a team that is going to be in the mix. But those, I think, are your best 4 contenders. We haven't even mentioned the Spains, the Brazils, the Swedens, the Japans. I mean, it's a much larger field that you're looking at, but I think those are the biggest 4 for the United States.
And, of course, they're playing Japan and Brazil quite soon in the She Believes Cup, which comes up in March. Are you a bit surprised they're playing so many of the teams they might face for real in the World Cup in the build-up games? Don't you want to keep your powder dry a little bit?
Well, as Megan Rapinoe said so well last night, she said playing easy teams gives you a false sense of confidence. And so, I mean, I think this is a team that likes to be challenged. This is definitely a coach in Jill Ellis who says we're not walking into a January of a World Cup year and going easy. And that's what honestly makes this team so good, is they want that challenge. So I like the chances for this United States. I'm not, as I think the player said as well, panicked about the loss to France, because I think that's a good reminder that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Well, the US lost their first game in the 2011 World Cup year, got to the final, lost the first game in 2015 to France, actually won the World Cup. So you're right, you can't read too much into the form now, can you?
No, and I think it's a good reminder. I mean, they talked about that. We talked about it at the beginning of the Open. Jill Ellis said to the team, I said, what did you say to the team after the France game? And she said, I said, this is a test, and the final exam actually is in the summer. And we didn't pass this first test, but that's okay. And I think it is a good reminder. It's January. It's going to be all right.
Do you think we're passing this test in this howling gale up here?
I'm still here. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. What was that about sunny Spain? It's not sunny here. It hasn't been. It's cold. It's affecting the game a little bit.
Weather, training. Come on.
Might be an interesting second half. We'll be back in a minute.
KFC Famous Bowls are only $3, a whole pound of tasty food. But how? It's a famous pour of this and some famous bits of that, and my famous chicken on top of all that stuff, and more gravy. KFC Famous Bowls, a whole pound of delicious food for only $3.
Come here, babe.
Nasty nighttime heartburn? Try Alka-Seltzer PM Gummies, the only fast, powerful heartburn relief plus melatonin so you can fall asleep quickly.
Oh, what a relief it is.
Last week at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit, Volkswagen was announced as the first ever presenting partner of U.S. Soccer, supporting the men's, women's, youth national teams, and Development Academy. Through this groundbreaking sponsorship, Volkswagen will support U.S. Soccer's mission of making soccer the preeminent sport in the United States.
Well, the U.S. men's national team at the weekend, Greg Berhalter's first game in charge, the start of a brand new era. and they're playing Panama. Of course, it'll be very, very interesting to see what kind of changes are going to be made. That game comes up at 8 o'clock on Sunday on ESPN2. So we hope that it will be the start of something big for the US men's national team. Good luck to Greg Berhalter, by the way. Second half here is coming up. Interesting to see whether Carly Lloyd might come on to influence proceedings. Goalless half-time between the USA and Spain. ESPN's coverage of the US women's national team is brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting partner of US Soccer. We're coming to you live from Estadio José Rico Pérez in Alicante, Spain, on the Costa Brava, where so far in the first ever meeting between Spain and the USA, it's 0-0 at half-time. Spain kept the ball very well. 3 changes coming up here, Julie, for the US.
Yeah, Pew press, and it looks like Tierna Davidson coming in for Rapinoe, Haran, and Emily Sonnet, it looks like, yes.
Yeah.
So Tierna Davidson going in at that left back position, Crystal Dunn moving to the right.
Yet another new position for Crystal Dunn. She's doing pretty well on that left-hand side. Here's Rose LaBelle, who does stay on, the young lady from Cincinnati, but straight away losing possession, but regaining it very impressively. That was a very good recovery from LaBelle. Charged down by Hermoso. It might have dropped for her, but it didn't. Quickly after Alyssa Nea. It was 4 years ago the US team came home to a ticker tape welcome in New York City and had a trip to the White House. There's confirmation of those changes. Yeah, you were right. It is Haran, Sonnet and Rapinoe that have gone off to make way.
Rapinoe and Haran, I know Jill Ellis mentioned limiting their minutes due to some of the injuries and being precautionary about that. Some of the knocks they had.
Torrejon. And also looking for the little flick on, but there's offside here. It's the end of that attack for Spain, who, as far as I can see, haven't made any changes of their own as yet. Only 43% possession in the first half for the US.
Thank you, Paul Carr. Second lowest in the first half of any game it's had.
Yeah, of the 63 games since the start of 2016.
Sorry, yes.
Yep.
The only other team to have a better possession, doesn't come as a surprise, Japan.
Yeah, we play a similar kind of game, and they proved it could work when they won the World Cup in 2011.
Though we did say, with all the possession Spain has had, that ball out of bounds, all this possession Spain has had, and the frustration, especially in the first part of that first half for the United States, it didn't convert in the attacking third. And you just don't see much from their width, from their wingers in terms of taking on, attacking. And that really is the missing element, in my opinion, for this very good Spanish side.
Possession without punch at the very highest level. It cost them the other night against Belgium. They had loads of the ball, but Belgium got an equaliser in the 89th minute against them. Last year, their record, Spain, was 10 wins, 2 draws, no defeats, goals for 24 against 2.
Yeah.
2 goals they conceded all last year. And that's the job the US have got here, to try to break them down. Tierna Davidson just back from a broken ankle, the Stanford student. He's come on here at left back, wearing the number 12, taking this throw.
How about that for your first game back from a broken ankle as well? You go into that France game, 52nd minute, in a position you're not entirely familiar with. She played more in the center, and she did well. Pereira's
long ball. Messeguer Cut out by Crystal Dunn, now playing in the right back position and trying to feed Tobin Heath in front of her. Heath's got very little change out of Mape Leon over on that side. It could change. Tobin Heath with Portland Thorns, where she's very keen to help her develop young players in that area.
Paredes has been well in the middle there. One that just tackled Alex Morgan, center back for Spain.
US trying to come up with something here. Heath. Crystal Dunn across to Becky Sauerbrunn, who surprisingly revealed, Becky Sauerbrunn, that she suffered from a bit of a crisis of confidence at times when she first came into the team, and it took her a little while to really believe in herself. You'd have never thought it from some of her performances. She's now in the top 20 appearance makers ever for the US. Mapi Leon, another of the Barcelona contingent, was involved in the first ever money transfer in Spanish women's football, 50,000 euros from Atletico Madrid to Barcelona. It's a sign of how the game is growing in this part of the world. It's very much, of course, embedded in the culture, this game. And Spain have been doing great things in the last 10-15 years, of course, and they've got something here with Hermoso laying it forward. It's good defending by the US. It's just a bit more of a cutting edge about Spain in that attack. Putellas lays it wide. Torrejon gets the crossing, and again, good defending. Putellas, early ball in, and Nea had to do her stuff there with Mariona closing in on the left side.
What a good ball by Putellas. We've seen her play a few of these in this game. You saw Nair raising her hand for the offside. The U.S. back line. You can't tell from that angle. I don't know if they were stepping, but looked like they were a good few yard offsides from that angle.
Morgan lays it forward and then press. Very speedy, left-sided attacker who did go to the last World Cup and played in 4 of the 7 games in that campaign. Not the final, though. Losada. Something different about Spain in this second half. Just a bit of extra tempo, and they do look a little more businesslike with their attacking work. Sampredo has done well. Hermoso. They're going for it a little bit here. Spain again just beginning to open out a little and develop.
Hermoso trying to get to that weak side. Mariona on the back side. Number 9 for Spain, hand in the air, wide open. Just couldn't find her.
Looks like they've switched Jenny Hermoso out towards the right-hand side and pushed Amanda Sampredo further forward to join the attack. Here's Losada. There's too much on that.
Hermoso was coming from that left side in the earlier attack as well, but back to her high central target position. But she's got the pace to come from wide and actually take on.
Messaguer. Hermoso. Quick and elegant player with good close control. Press. Good opportunity here, and she's going alone here. And press, and that's an own goal in the end, but the US have the lead, and that was all down to a fabulous piece of work from Kristen Press, who drove at the heart of that defence. And really the goal does belong to her, even though it was turned in at the end by one of the Spanish defenders. It's really her goal.
Jill Ellis saying to us yesterday, Kristen Press's speed is the best on the entire team. And we said, really? And she said, yes. And I'd like her to show it. Well, here it is today in full vision. Look at that. All the way down. No one able to really step with her. And she just takes this one full course and comes across. What a finish by Kristen Press. Pereira trying to get to her, doesn't have the pace to.
Paredes, wasn't it, trying to get it off the line. It couldn't. But really that goal should go to Kristen Press. It's a really good piece of work from her. 47th goal for the US in her 108th cap. That's a good return. And that's what you call stating your case a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, when you come in as a substitute. And you saw the pace mismatch with number 20 Pereira on Spain there. Just couldn't stay with her. Paredes trying to save it at that last minute off the line, but clearly Press having the pace advantage on Pereira.
Great moment that for the US, who are looking to just score what would be a psychologically uplifting win in this last game in Europe before the World Cup itself. There are plenty of games coming up in the US. The She Believes Cup against Japan, England and Brazil. There's a game against Australia in Denver in April, Belgium in LA, then South Africa in Santa Clara, New Zealand in St. Louis, and Mexico in Harrison, New Jersey, in the final send-off game before the team set off in defense of their world title. Tiana Davidson cutting it out. Up to Julie Ertz. Pugh went down. Press quick again. I think she was timed at, what was it, 33 miles an hour. Full of it now. Gets in another cross. It's a signature performance so far. Done. Away by Torrejon. Lavelle. Good ball. Sauerbrunn turning up in the outside left position. That goal has lifted and changed the mood of the US team. You know, I think it will have to go down as a Paredes own goal, because she did have the opportunity to hook her foot around that and clear it, but couldn't do so. Which is hard on Kristen Press, but I think that probably does have to be the way of it for official purposes. Press finds another good ball. Morgan's in behind him, and the flag's up. Offside.
Morgan is looking across that line, and she edged to her right just a little bit. But look, she can see where she's at. She should be backing up, getting herself onside. No excuse for that. She clearly has the pace to get in as well.
Pugh won the ball back well there. Tobin Heath here. Morgan's closing in the middle. And it's well played by Pereira to get that one away. Best spell of the game, this, for the US. It all started with a goal. Crystal Dunn. Could there be a second goal? Not with a cross like that, too near the goalkeeper. Spain are going to make changes in a moment. You can see that.
Good little rhythm. Oh, here it is again. Another look at it. Here's Pereira for Spain. Just cannot stay with her. And you've seen, and especially as that first half started to wear down, the fatigue setting in for Spain. U.S. has a step on everything right now, and especially when you bring in the three sets of fresh legs in Pugh, Press, and Davidson.
Here is Tiana Davidson. Lavelle picked a good ball. Clipped in behind well by Morgan. Press again. Tobin Heath in the middle. Cut back towards her. Maybe she needed a slightly earlier ball than that. Different game now. Different feel to it.
Exactly the element that Spain has been lacking, which is pace on the wings, is what Kristen Press has brought to the United States side in this second half. And this is the challenge that every team that plays the United States is going to have, because now coming in for Alex Morgan is
Jessica McDonald.
Jessica McDonald, who's also going to be a handful for teams.
Coming on to replace Tobin Heath. Jessica McDonald, who got the winner against Portugal in her first start for the US. A late starter, really, in the US team after 10 goals for the champions North Carolina Courage. Good to see that it's never too late. Hermoso Putellas.
Moso with a little Meg on the sideline. The crowd enjoyed that.
Let's press again. Back to Julie Ertz. Rose Lavelle. Suddenly the US midfield players beginning to influence things a little bit more. Spain undoubtedly rattled by that goal. And here's a change coming up. One of the usual starters. She certainly started against Germany. It's a lovely bit of play, wasn't it, by Hermoso?
You heard the whole crowd with that one. Woo!
Yeah,
such a respect for the creativity. You gotta love it.
It's going to be Marta Corredera of Levante to come on. He played left back against Germany in the goalless draw between those two important teams in women's football.
Move the ball! Good! Counter movement from 3!
Dahlkemper. Laid off very neatly. McDonald's gone over to the right-hand side.
My apologies. I think I said she was coming in for Morgan. She came in for Heath.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, Julie. It's hard to keep tabs of all the substitutions in these kind of games. It's like they've changed the whole chorus line at a musical on Broadway sometimes.
I do know Morgan was close to the sideline at that time.
She did come over, you're right. Mariona. And Meseguer. Prado winning the ball back nicely. And Putellas, who must have one of the best left foots, I think, in women's football. Some of the passes she's sprayed around tonight from there. Almost a joy to watch it sometimes.
It's amazing to think, when you see all the talent on this Spanish side, how they went so many years, right? And when you see the youth side do so well, how they went so many years without qualifying for a World Cup, and how you allow a coach for 27 years to lead the same team, and he hasn't taken them to a World Cup. I mean, there were years of them trying to get rid of that coach.
It could be in business here, though, and this time Naya is forced to make the save.
I think that's a good no call, very close. And Nair, as you saw in the France game on Saturday night, in the big moments when you got to come up with a save, mind you, it's right at her, but it's with some pace. She was able to do that on Saturday against France, and there's another big one for her there tonight.
Press to Morgan. Chance here for the ace finisher, not quite getting the angle right. Mariona, it's Andrea Falcone who's come over on that far side. Here she is. It was her shot that Naya saved a minute or so ago. Can't quite control that.
Again, it's press, just busy. And this is a good save by Paños, because look at, you got some traffic in front of you. You can't see. The thought is there from Morgan. I'm just going to bend it to that far post. Doesn't execute it technically, but that's a good hold and save by Paños in traffic.
Marta Torrejon is going to be replaced by another Marta Corredera, who comes on for her 62nd cap. Won 4 titles with Barcelona, and she's going to go into the right back position.
I think you could argue Torrejon on that right side as a right back had some of the best offensive movement on the entire team for Spain, getting forward. And not surprising with Kristen Press, who's the match that Cordero is going to have on that right side, US's left side. Not surprising they bring some fresh legs to try and slow Press down.
Game's just opened up a little bit, though, in the second half. I think it needed that, really, for the neutral. No question about that. And Mosso, again, who really does look a very, very good player. So comfortable on the ball. And you could say that about a lot of these Spanish players. Just at the stage of their development, and maybe in a year or two down the line, when they find a striker on a bit more of a cutting edge, they really will be pretty hot to handle. Because they can play,
absolutely,
can't they? They can play,
absolutely.
No doubt about it.
And that's, I think, the missing piece of the puzzle.
Well, the official word from US Soccer is that Kristen Press has been credited with the goal. No argument from me, although you could argue that Paredes might have hooked that off the line, but didn't. But Press deserved it.
Yes.
It was all her own work, wasn't it, really? Powers of meditation and yoga, you see. She believes in all of that, as we've been hearing. Corredera, ball only just about went in play for a yard or two and then out again. Strange one. Ertz. Now, very much the midfield player every time. Former defender, of course. And, as you say, an important player in that US midfield. Cut out that ball as well.
Just constantly cutting out balls, breaking down plays.
Vital for every team to have somebody who does that somewhat unfashionable job.
And that you can do it on both sides. I mean, we've seen that she can also be an offensive threat as well.
Dahlkemper. Peeling it back. The US are playing better now, with more belief and just a little more penetration about the work as well. Davidson's ball, I think it was aimed towards Lavelle. It worked out okay in the end. Ertz lays it forward. Well played by Morgan. Held it up well. McDonald's in behind here. Cuts it back. Mallory Pugh had a chance. Julie Ertz has got a chance and has ballooned it over. Could have been 2.
Much better movement by the U.S. What a nice ball that is by Alex Morgan. I thought if she was going to get to the top of the box, she might have been able to get this one. Came in a little bit late. Alex Morgan sitting on 98 goals, trying to become the 7th player on the U.S. women's team to reach 100. Asked her about it last night, how much she's thinking about it, and she said, I'm tired of friends saying congratulations. She said, for what? I haven't got it. Stop jinxing me.
I think she'd quite like to reach the milestone at home, but you take it anywhere.
Her family,
so family and friends are around.
Her family would like that. They said,
you
just wait till you get home. So
you can't choreograph that stuff, Julie.
No.
Happens when it happens. Very fine achievement as well. Sambredo. Mariona struggled to get into it really in an attack, and again the US with a lot of white shirts back there defending, do the job well. But they've given that one away. Maybe Putellas is going to finish here with that good left foot, but she made a present of it really to Alyssa Naya. Much better game, isn't it now? Pugh. MacDonald, who was pretty much involved. Alex Morgan's come to the near post, gets there. Held it up well. MacDonald plays it in again, and Corredera gets it away. Spain on the break with Falcón. Pereira. Paredes, it's a rare bad ball, this. Spain haven't often on this 16-game unbeaten run of theirs played many of the what you'd call the elite teams. This is a big occasion and a big test and a learning experience for them, but I think we've seen enough from them here to know that nobody's going to get an easy ride against them in France this summer, including Germany.
When we asked Jorge Vilda last night at the press conference, the biggest difference, of course, between Spain and what their impressions were of the United States, he said, you have millions playing in your country. We have 42,000 registered girls. And you think about the difference of numbers when this country wraps their arms truly around women playing. They're going to be something, and it's been nice to see the support from their federation, and that it does seem to be changing here culturally.
Yeah, quite markedly.
That is always the last thing, isn't it? It's so slow sometimes to get to a point where you're allowing the girls to play, sadly. He also did say the distance is less and less in the race to becoming the best, but he says we only need a little time and we're running faster than others. They sure are.
You sure are, yeah. A couple of changes coming up for Spain here. One of the players we're going to see is Lucia Garcia of Athletic Bilbao, only player in the squad from that city. One of the good youngsters from the under-20 team that got to the final of the World Cup. Putellas not this time. And also Aitana Bonmati is going to come on, another of those under-20 stars. She missed the final of the Under-20 World Cup after being sent off in the semi. Bonmati wearing the number 18, coming on now. There she is. And Lucia Garcia. Mariona is one of those coming off.
Plays alongside who we were talking about before, her Under-20 teammate. Plays alongside her at Barcelona, Guijarro, the star of that Under-20 Women's World Cup, who's out injured today. Bonmati does.
ESPN's coverage of the US Women's National Team brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting partner of US Soccer. And the US 1 goal to the good here, credited to Kristen Press. You'd call it the solo goal. Falcón wearing the gloves on the far side. Quick work. And a free kick's going to be given for the challenge there on Mallory Pugh, and a yellow card as well for Mappé Leon.
A nice option to have with Pugh. They had her out wide up front against France. Here she's coming from a deeper position in the midfield, playing that attacking center midfield, but so good in her ability to burst out of those seams and to have that option and that depth in there.
Is Lavelle to take the free kick for the US. I feel they need a second goal to put this one to bed. Did that stay in play? No, it didn't. Press with the header at the end of it all. Just crept out of play. Corredera not able to control it. Same towards press. There's nothing she can do with that one. About to come on, Samantha Mewis, a player who plays for the champions North Carolina Courage, although she grew up in Massachusetts. To replace Rose Lavelle. Like-for-like switch that from the US.
Surprised actually that Rose Lavelle was able to get 75 in. They said that she was really struggling with that sickness over the weekend.
By Paredes. France unbeaten since September 2017, but staring at a loss here. Has been a tight game, an intriguing game really. Might have learnt a lot here. Sabran is able to mop things up. She's going to be very, very important. Not only her play on the pitch, but the advice she can hand out to younger players. Half tonight's starters, or outfield starters, were in the starting lineup in the final in 2015 for the US. So it is an all change, not by any stretch. Alex Morgan. McCall Zaboni. Good ball to find Morgan. Flag was up though, offside frustratingly for the US. That was a nice piece of play in the build-up though.
US fans going to be pleased to see McCall Zaboni in there. That was tight. Oof.
Zaboni, who's played for 8 American teams in her career.
And last time out with the US team, a broken elbow, which a lot of fans remember. Has had such a good season with the Courage as well.
She's another one for whom it's happened late. It's only her 8th cap tonight. She's 32, but Jill Ellis clearly likes her around the squad. Press again. Corredera. Lucia Garcia. Pereira. Napoleon. Falcone. And Mosso's waiting in the middle. She's been pushed a little further forward now. Really enjoyed watching her performance tonight. Putellas as well for Spain.
It's going to be interesting too to see Lucia Garcia, part of the under-20s, as you mentioned. Falcone is another young player. Both of them coming in that wing position. And what has been lacking, as we've been talking about all evening for Spain, is some pace and threat coming from that outside wide position and just getting in behind players. Can those younger kids, they are really kids, younger players, give them that X factor? No better arena to test it than right here.
Jenny Hermoso replaced by another Garcia, not related to the other one, Naikari Garcia of Real Sociedad, former captain of the Spain under-19 team. She's out there now, striker, only her 5th cap. 1 goal already on her debut, in fact, against Finland. So can she provide a threat to this US defence, who want a clean sheet, want to follow up that defeat in France with a good win here? Lucia Garcia. Again's pass just cut out, maybe a little tiredness just creeping in late on. Zaboni's pass aimed towards Mewis. Certainly going to enjoy the plane ride home a bit more if they can go home with an important win here. Abby Dahlkemper wide towards Kristen Press. It's cut out. By the way, in World Cup history, the US have only ever lost 4 times in 43 matches. It's an impressive record, all right. A record they'll aim to continue this summer. But they've got a lot of countries snapping at their heels now. ESPN's coverage of Serie A continues this Sunday at 8:55 a.m. Eastern on ESPN News. Atalanta hosting Roma from the city of Bergamo. The match will be streaming live on the ESPN app as well. Good surface here, even though this is a 3rd division ground these days. They used to be in La Liga at one time, some 20 years ago. They had a big win over Barcelona, which denied Barcelona the title one year. Hercules.
What year was that, Ian?
It was 97, I believe. Locals still talk about it. Here's Morgan. Wants to go alone for that 99th goal. The goalkeeper made a bit of a mess of that, but got away with it. Seemed to go through her a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, she hasn't seemed real strong in the air, Paños, tonight. And you know, with Alex Morgan given a little bit of space there, she's going to put that one on goal.
The goalkeeper from this city of Alicante. I was quite grateful to see that drop down on the top of the net and not into it. Here comes the US corner, cleared by Meseguer for Spain. There's Mallory Pugh. Come out to the left-hand side for the time being. We've switched Kristen Press over to the right. Dunn towards Morgan, who's offside. Flag went up straight away when the ball arrived.
She sees that line. Just get on the other side of it, Alex. I used to say that to Mia. You see that line, right? Don't you see that?
A frustrated midfield
She's like,
player.
oh, midfielders. You midfielders know nothing. A much better second half, though, for the United States. And I do think part of that has to go with the fatigue of Spain. You haven't been able to see them put the same amount of pressure defensively when they lose the ball as you did in the first half.
We'll get a corner here, though. Spain on this right-hand side. They may feel that they deserve something from this game, but doesn't quite work out like that. The US are going to be hard-headed about this and look to close the show. Bonmati, the 20-year-old, is going to take the corner. Has got to do her work, and she does that very, very well. That's exactly what you want your goalkeeper to do in this situation. 1-0 up, away from home, late on in the game. Come and get it and hold it.
And I've always felt this is the one question mark of the team, this goalkeeper position, with all the talent they have, coming off of the likes of the goalkeepers and the legendary goalkeepers they've had in the past, Hope Solo, Brianna Scurry. And maybe this tour here in Europe is going to be the turning point for Nair, because she seems more confident. She had some big saves against France. She had a nice save earlier. She's been holding on to balls more.
Well, apparently she's a very confident personality. Quiet but confident was the verdict we were given.
And clearly, in Jill Ellis's mind, she is their number one. She's got that position locked in.
Dahlkemp had to be quick there and have her wits about her. And Kari Garcia making the run behind her. Quick. Garcia. Broken a few scoring records in her time at Real Sociedad already. By Dunn, picked up though in midfield by Putellas. Is Lucia Garcia. Messeguer knew where the space was. It was with Falcone on the left-hand side. She found it pretty well. Ooh, Paredes has got herself into trouble there. The free kick is given against Pugh. She looks a little aghast at it.
Telling the referee, you could hear her or see her lips. I got the ball there. And I think if you're Jorge Vilda, this Spanish coach right now, you're looking at this first time they've ever played the United States, with all of that comes with the knowledge from their team of what the U.S. has done. And you have to be pleased in that they've stayed with them.
Yeah.
Maybe haven't created the amount of chances.
You want to be hard about it. You want to be hard about it, Julie. They played Germany and they played the USA. They haven't scored in either of those games. So when it comes to the knockout rounds at the World Cup, are they going to be able to do that and beat the big teams? That would be the question. As nice as their football is to watch and as technically good as they are,
right? Do they have the punch?
Yeah. They might find it. Might easily do.
Yeah. You see that they have some of the depth with these younger kids coming in as well.
Ooh, nice early ball there from you. You could see the idea. The flag was up anyway. She's done pretty well since coming on over there. Jessica McDonald.
Yeah, just 30 seconds ago, she was back in her own box defending as well.
Can only take 23 players, and some of them will be very, very aware of that and where the line might be drawn. Very difficult for the coach. You'll know that she will have to break one or two hearts. Lewis nicely into stride and wins the free kick. A lot of injury problems last year for Sam Lewis.
Yeah, and quite a few players, really, when you go down the list of them. And it's just recently they've gotten Rapinoe and Heath and Rose Lavelle and all of them back. And fast forwarding to June and July of this summer. I think that's the biggest key. How can they stay healthy?
Crystal Dunn's come back to left back now. It looks like Pugh's dropped a bit further back to help out defensively.
They switched Tiona Davidson into that center back position as well.
Yep. Here's Mallory Pugh. Now she's caught out of position for a moment. Just being redirected by Abby Dahlkemper to back to her post, as it were. Lucia Garcia. Dunn doing her job. Well, she did a very good job when she was up against England's Lucy Bronze on that side as well. So one of the best players around in the world game. I agree with you. No bias intended, but I think England will be a factor at this World Cup this time, particularly like Fran Kirby.
I'm not sure I buy that no bias intended. For the record.
Yeah. Phil Neville in charge, of course.
I like him.
Lucia Garcia. And it's well dealt with, very coolly dealt with by Tiona Davidson. Again, Lewis picked a good pass. She's done that since she's come on. Pretty composed. Morgan wanted a free kick. She's not getting it. Closing moments of this game now. US holding on to a morale-boosting 1-0 win. Just what was needed, really, after the defeat in France a few nights ago.
And not an easy one for them. This has been a tough trip. Weather, conditions.
Corredera's crossing. There's still more work for that defence to do yet. It's going a little more direct. Maybe they do need to mix it up more, Spain. Maybe they need to get in more crosses. I think that's McCall Zerboni who's down, isn't it? Yeah.
You hate to see that. We talked about her just getting back. Zerboni from that broken elbow. Looks like she's grabbing her shoulder. That was the Tiona Davidson play prior.
Knock to the mouth, Lucia Garcia.
But yeah, imagine if you're the U.S. team starting 0-2 for this World Cup year.
And you have to face all the music on social media.
The chatter around that. So big, big win for them here tonight if it ends up that way.
Still might be something, though. But Bon Marti's ball wasn't a good one there. I haven't often been able to say that about Spain's passing tonight. It's generally been of a pretty high quality, sometimes exceptional. Zerboni's picked a good ball out there. MacDonald cutting inside. Dangerous run. Morgan. And now press again. Oh, and just lost her balance at the key moment. It's gone out of play. Good pressing by Press. No pun intended. The US are very concerned now about the clock. A win's a win. Alex Morgan making the point to us last night when we chatted to her, saying her advice to the young players would be to treat every game between now and the World Cup as if it was the World Cup itself. With a lot of edge there. Of course, there are places to be played for as well. A lot of the players who've come on are aware of that, but the US have the win. They've bounced back from the defeat against France, and Kristen Press, the star player of the night, really coming on. A solo goal from here. She really ran hard at that defence, created all for herself. think a defender might have got it off the line, but Press has been given the goal, and quite rightly so, I think, in the end. 47th for her country, and good enough to give the US the win here. A deserved win for you, Julie. What's your final thoughts on things?
I do think it's a deserved win, but I think that's a very good Spanish side that's just missing a few key elements in that final third. But how about Press just giving them such a bounce? I mean, when it was needed, that first half, you could see they were struggling for possession, struggling for confidence a little bit in the United States. And Kristen Press, Mallory Pugh, I think, did a great job. Tiana Davidson, those three subs coming off the bench, giving that U.S. team a lift in the second half. But a huge win, as we said, can't even imagine coming home 0-2. to start 2019 in a World Cup year.
A few US fans here to celebrate it as well. Everybody feeling a little bit better about life. You could tell that they didn't enjoy what happened the other night in France, where the French showed what a good team they're going to be, I think, in the summer. A host nation, of course. So that's the story from Alicante. Kristen Press of Utah Royals with the goal that has won this game for the US. Back on track with the World Cup, only 5 months away now. We'll be back in a moment. The US men's national team back in action this Sunday on ESPN2 as they take on Panama in Greg Berhalter's first match in charge of the team. That'll be interesting coverage from Glendale, Arizona, beginning at 8 Eastern on ESPN2 and also streaming live on the ESPN app. The story here tonight on the Costa Brava, the USA, with a morale-boosting 1-0 win courtesy of Kristen Press against Spain. Spain's first defeat in quite a while. That coming up next, it's NFL Live from our crew. Thank you for joining me and Julie Faldy. Good night. Buenas noches from Alicante.